everything okay, Nicholas? You've been awful quiet since you came back.
Sorry, Serena. Today's just been one of those days.
Oh, hey Nicholas.
What's up, Nicholas? Hey guys. You wouldn't believe the day I had today. Not only was I put on coal detail for the Mon line, but I had to intervene when another heritage unit decided to disturb the peace. Where's Roderick Crawford, Andy Griffith, or the officers in Car 54, where are you? Chips, and those other cop shows when you need them most. Hell, even if that means Sheriff Roscoe or Buford T. Justice, whatever it takes to shut those guys up.
Ugh, I know how you feel. Some of them have bothered me too.
Same here. We get it. They're special. They don't need to keep shoving it into our faces. Exactly. I mean, I like the concept of heritage units. I think it's pretty neat, especially for our 30th anniversary. But if all they're gonna do is brag about themselves and their paint schemes we've all seen by now, that's not a very bright image.
The ones my railroad has were like that too for a few years. They eventually snapped out of it though. And while your railroad turned 30 this year, mine turned 150. Good old Abe Lincoln.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I've been meaning to say, congratulations, Misty. I need to tell Don, Roy, Donald, Kurt, Wario, and some of my other UP friends the next time I cross paths with them.
Thank you. Don and I have dealt with nastier engines before though.
It always seems that every Class 1 railroad throughout history has had good engines, bad engines, and some you just find annoying. And I know our heritage units mean well, but this lust for attention is really something else. I mean, if they're so desperate to be recognized, why don't they just go on the internet and look up pictures of themselves? There are plenty by now. Kato, Bachmann, and those other model trains manufacturers are already modeling them, and perhaps trains, MSTS, Railworks, and whatever else could be including them as add-ons as well. That reminds me, I always wondered if model trains can talk like we can. Then we'd have Toy Story, but with model trains. Seeing that Mr. Phillips, Mr. Edwards, Mr. Hirasawa, and some other superintendents I know used to be avid collectors, I'd say unlikely. But we're getting off the subject, JP.
From what I understand, they didn't have this desire for attention until sometime after the ceremony down at Spencer.
That actually makes sense. Even still, we gotta stop this madness somehow. Their heritage units are unique, no doubt about it, and I understand that they may be getting recognized more than we do. But at the end of the day, we were all built for the same purpose, to work and to keep this economy rolling. Am I right?
You sure are. Yep.
And we'll see how it continues to do when President Obama gets re-elected next month. Not all of them are like this, though. Skip's definitely isn't. And because of having lesser-known roads, the IT unit, the SNA unit, and the original NS unit aren't either. I always have trouble remembering their names, though.
Anyways, Nicholas and I have a coal train to take to Washingtonville. See you later, guys.
Later.
Bye, Serena. Bye, Nicholas.
See you around, JP and Misty. hope this all blows over soon.
Don't worry, it will.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Serena. Changing the subject, if you're up for it later tonight, remember a few weeks ago when we watched Midway with Sean, Will, and Lily? The dramatized account of the Battle of Midway, which, along with Coral Sea, highlighted the usefulness of aircraft carriers in combat?
Yeah?
Well, I'd love to show you the greatest tank battles episode, the Battle of Kursk. Marie enjoyed it, and I bet you would too. Even after the crushing defeat by the Red Army at Stalingrad, this massive engagement would finally stop the Germans from taking control of the Eastern Front. There's also something about the Soviet T-34 tanks that I find interesting too.
Sounds good.
Substitution, mass confusion, clouds inside your head. With your eyes of porcelain and I'm blue, they shot me in the set.
It's a river in Pennsylvania sharing a name, my railroad.
And there goes my good mood.
That's cute, Frank, but your railroad only operated in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, so there's not much to remember you by. Also, that dull gray scheme of yours rips off the KCS Gray Ghost scheme.
It does not. Oh, what about you, Mr. Beeline? That makes you sound like a bumblebee ready to sting someone.
You're asking for it now, wise guy. If you saw our C-630s hauling anthracite, you'd be amazed.
You can't forget about the Monongahela P-23-7Rs.
Would you just shut up, both of you? You're acting like children for crying out loud. Jesus Christ, I haven't heard engines bicker about their railroad since 1977. I did not survive corporate failures and corporate reformations just to relive this shit again. Can't we just talk about something, I don't know, more interesting than this? Like, I don't know, the Raritan River Swing Bridge? That still exists, unlike the railroads you're painted for. You're not even from those railroads. Why are you even arguing about them?
The railroad I'm painted for still exists. Well, sort of. Have you heard of the Reading, Blue Mountain, and Northern?
Two of my brothers got sent to their deathbeds at RBMN, so yeah, I think I know them. But that's not even the issue here. The issue is that you guys are fighting because you have special paint schemes about railroads you never even worked for. All you do is just fight nonstop, act and bicker and whatever else you do, and I'm getting sick of it. You all are getting to be regular golden treasuries of useless information.
How about you, Ian? Heard an engine say you talk about the Conrail days quite often.
Well, I do talk about my Conrail days a lot. I don't start petty arguments about who was better. I learned at an early age that pride cometh before the fall. So unless you want your fall, shut up before I personally go to the higher-ups and convince them to get you repainted into Horsehead. You got it?
No!
Anything but
this!
I'll be watching you two. I don't even know what's noisier anymore. Wildwood Amusement Park or this?
The engines were amazed at how the situations were handled. But unfortunately, there was another predicament the next morning. As Will arrived in Hagerstown with H-34 from Greencastle, Pennsylvania, he found two heritage units arguing.
N&W was a classy railroad. Those beautiful J&K classes, O. Winston Link, so many coal mines, you should visit the Star City of Roanoke. It used to be called Big Lick, named for a salt lick that was once there.
In case you aren't aware, your railroad was owned by mine. Not to mention our fleet of GT1s, which ran on the longest electrified main line in America, and we had the 6100, the longest steam locomotive in the world. It was longer than the big boys by 8 feet. Numerous rumors say it broke Mallard's record of 126 miles an hour, at least once in its career.
We held on to steam for a while.
Standard railroad of the world.
Oh, for the love of Chevy, stop acting like you ran the railroad you were painted for. You've taken it to a whole new level, like some engines.
But you kept it going till the sun fell down. You kept it going.
If you pulled a train over to Tehachapi, you'd realize how good we are.
So what? Nothing compares to the Marias Pass in the Pacific Northwest. I'd rather take a train through the cool Cascades than the hot New Mexico desert. Up there, we have Amtrak trains like the Empire Builder.
We have the Southwest Chief, if only they still used high levels like what ATSS used.
Hey you, what are you doing here?
Didn't they tell you? I'm assigned here until Friday before being sent back to Phoenix. Why does this concern you, Frankenstein?
No, I mean, what were you doing right this minute? And don't call me that. Just because I'm painted green doesn't make me look like Frankenstein.
Just telling your friend here that my railroad is superior to your disgusting lima bean colored railroad.
Get out, now.
Now it's reminding me of the Cold Wars from the 80s. One time in Binghamton, Virginia, an MOW worker set up a Coke machine outside the old depot, and then a co-worker got upset because he drinks Pepsi, so they had a heated argument. Unfortunately, it ended when the nearby store owner called the police. That's nothing. In Japan, their vending machines will sell you almost anything. And I mean anything. But yeah, I see what you mean. It also reminds me of when people argue about Wawa and cheats. Pennsylvania is blunt with both.
You always worked for NS since day one, Will.
Well, guess what? So have you. Truth is, all of your paint schemes are fake, so no need to get worked up over it.
Well, we know that, but friendly competition, I guess?
I'm sorry for this pointless argument.
So am I, Henry. Let's move on.
Hey, look at that. I handled those snarky heritage units as well as Sean did. This is even cooler than last August when I led a train on the Shippensburg Secondary and past Carlisle where they had the Corvettes in Carlisle event. Too bad I didn't see any from the rails. Would this be as big an achievement as the day in 2017 when he hauled an autograph train through a massive downpour while facing challenges along the way? We'll find out when the time comes. Anyway, back at Highland Valley, Lily and Amber were waiting for orders when a coal train pulled off the mountain branch. Lily expected more nonsense when she noticed 8090 getting to the point, and more so when he pulled to a stop.
Hello, ladies.
Hi. Here for some arrogant remarks?
Of course not. What gives you the idea? I know some of my heritage counterparts are full of hot air, but they think just because they receive special paint schemes that they deserve all the attention. I used to be a bit like that, but then someone just made me see sense.
Oh. Well, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I like being recognized as a special unit, but I don't need all that publicity. Too much fame is bound to get the better of someone at some point. That being said, who doesn't love Conrail?
I used to work for them, so I know exactly what you mean.
Well, I got a clear signal indication, so I'd best be going. See you, girls.
Bye!
pulled into Chattanooga where he met up with Josiah, Lily, Amber, and Will.
Oh, hey there, Nicholas. Any news?
A signal maintainer told me this funny story that happened at a Waffle House in Greenville this morning. It was an employee's lunch break when the Pelzer rescue squad came in. The employee said he's not hungry. The manager's like, call the rescue squad. Then the employee's like, they're already here. So they did some tests on him, like a stroke test, and they checked his vitals. And they found there to be nothing wrong. One guy said, well, he's perfectly normal, just not hungry. What about you?
All of the heritage units have been subdued.
They have? All 20? Are you sure?
Yeah, easy as pie.
Trust me, we had to do that with a few of our heritage units. That included reminding Eddie that SP was poorly managed, telling Katie that her paint scheme doesn't match the red scheme the MKT used, and telling Mark that DRNGW isn't a direct predecessor of UP since they purchased the SP, but still ran under the SP name for identity. All their remarks annoyed me because they were distracting me from doing my job, the only thing us locomotives were built for. Plus, they're not even perfect like I am. Look up perfect in the dictionary and you'll find my name.
We get it, Roy.
Well then again, your railroad spent more money on combining schemes, whereas mine was more frugal and stuck to just one design. Your guys' heritage units were more expensive than either a muskie fishing charter up in Upper Peninsula, Michigan, or driving the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Trust me, that's not a cheap road to drive on.
Honestly, you could have just ignored them.
When you work with them or stay in the same yard, it gets hard to do that.
Let's be real. Those heritage units mean well, but we had to do something before their arrogance got the better of them.
True. As the old lesson goes, power and fame can corrupt an individual. That's why our government has limited power. Otherwise, we'll have a dictator like Hitler or Stalin, and nobody would want that. Yeah. It was a common stereotype for larger and more famous locomotives to be stuck up. My railroads had a history of massive locomotives. The DE-35As, the U-50s and the U-50Cs, the C-855, AC-6000 CWs, the SD-90 Mac, the Challengers, the turbines. Also on the largest diesel built, the DDA-40X, and the largest steam engine built, the Big Boy.
You should have seen me thundering through Laramie with 92 loaded cars earlier. Bet you can't do that.
So what? I pulled a train from Green River earlier.
Not as big as mine. Your wheels would slip helplessly on the grade.
Yup, they need enormous engines with all strengths to tackle Sherman Hill, because you're not big enough.
I may not be as big as you two, but at least it's not a hassle for me to fit on most turntables.
You know, he's got a point.
Yeah, never thought about that. Guess with my immense size comes a lot of pride.
Same with me.
That's okay.
I see. Hey Lily, when you first met Lilium, was she cocky at all? Because you know, she's more famous than the heritage units.
She wasn't bad. She enjoys the attention, but she rarely gets conceited about it and never looks down on other engines. In fact, she actually looks up to us.
Michael might be slightly different with his occasional boasting, but yeah, that's interesting. I guess it all depends on the engines.
Absolutely. 844 and 3985 are well behaved for the most part. 6936 feels that sense of dedication, and the E9s are sometimes boastful, but they mean well.
The CSX F40s are really nice from what I heard.
Whether it pertains to size, paint schemes, what have you, some engines can act vain. This is not an uncommon occurrence. Many times it takes a dose of logic and common sense to get them to stop.
Well, I'm glad we got them under control. For now. There's no doubt that NS's fleet of 20 heritage units is special for each of the following flag paint schemes they sport, not to mention the attention they bring them. But technically, they are no different from any other locomotive, just the paint scheme that makes them stand out from the rest. still take pride in their special paint schemes made to commemorate as his predecessors, but the incessant bragging came to an end. At least until the Streamlabs and Spencer moved to Carolina 2 years later. That's another story.
And that's the story. Was there still occasional boasting? Yes, from time to time. But ever since we put them in their places, they haven't been rambling about their railroads or showing off too much. Unfortunately, it would prove difficult to get Mike, Fred, Ty, and Eddie to shut up. But the catch is that we didn't see them as much as the Heritage units. But when they started bothering us for attention, they became unlikable. In hindsight, though, it may not have been as bad as the Trump and Biden debate last year. I hope my lack of hands doesn't prevent the perception of those air quotes. No.
Who's your friend, Nicholas?
Some moron who, back in 2002, claimed that Abraham Lincoln would get reelected, that Christopher Columbus came to America in a Ferrari, and that George Washington crossed the Delaware River with the Cape May Lewis ferry.
Hey, did you know the Full Buccaneers is coming back tomorrow?
You made that rumor 100 times and it was never once proven true.
This weekend, UP 3985 and PRR 4913 will be restored.
Baloney! Connor was retired because of his bad shape and how UP can only operate 2 steam engines at a time. And there are no GG1s operating as they've all had their main transformers removed. Jeez, all this time at LTEX must have drove you insane. Remind me again why Mr. Edwards decided to lease you?
I know that, right? Why can't they make shows like they used to?
Ever heard of the show Gomer Pyle? You were built the same year it premiered, so you probably have. It started when Jim Nabors left to focus more on his music career, and the guy who played Sergeant Carter, Frank Sutton, followed suit out of loyalty to Jim. That led to the Rural Purge, where rural shows like Green Acres, Gomer Pyle, Beverly Hillbillies, and many others were dropped. And now they don't make shows like they used to. That and political correctness.
Gomer Pyle will return Halloween 2020.
In your dreams, I'm out of here.